What's up guys, this is Gregory from photosincolor.com, and right now I'm going to be talking about the brand new Nikon Mirrorless camera. 2 cameras, 1 lens mount, 3 lenses, loads of information. Here we go. Okay, so before we get into this, I am going to be giving away one of the brand new Nikon mirrorless cameras. All you gotta do is watch the video to the end and I will tell you how you can win one of these babies. Okay, so this literally went live moments ago, so I'm gonna have to refer to some notes, but stick around, we're gonna get through all of this. So, Nikon just built up this whole thing for the last few months about the new mirrorless camera. Well, it dropped today and it looks, for me, it looks pretty interesting. I don't know if they nailed it, but they definitely brought something to the table, and I would love to know what you think about that. So here we go. First of all, they have dropped 2 new cameras, the Z6 and the Z7, or Z6 and Z7, 2 different cameras. We're gonna get onto that in a moment, but first I'm gonna talk about how they created it, and that is with the brand new mount. It's called the Z mount. And apparently, here we go, this is what they've called it, Mirrorless Reinvented. So apparently they're going to reinvent it. I don't think they are going to reinvent it personally, but I think they're going to bring some things to the table. And this is what they're going to bring, is the new mount. So their current mount for Nikon is like 59 years old. And if you look at some of the most popular mirrorless cameras right now, Sony, they are using a mount that was made for APS-C, small sensors, and then they've crammed in a full frame sensor into there. What Nikon have just done is remade a brand new lens mount so that you can fit a full frame sensor in there with a smaller flange. Now apparently it's got a 16mm flange and a 55mm inner diameter, whatever that means. Basically it means more light, and it means that they can get the lens closer onto a full frame. Now that is something awesome. And apparently they can now get faster lenses, a f/0.95 that they're launching next year. I actually have the information about that lens in a moment, so stay tuned. What else does this allow them to do? Because this lens mount is so much wider, what they can do apparently is get edge-to-edge brightness and edge-to-edge sharpness. So that means less vignetting, sharper lenses, corner to corner, all of that stuff. So that for me is something which is pretty exciting. And because of the new lens mount, they can probably keep the prices of the lenses down. I also have the prices of the lenses coming up as well. Okay, so what else have we got? Now apparently this new lens mount and everything is set up for the future. So it means that it actually has a far faster connection, body to lens. It can pass information quickly. They even mentioned something about 8K. Now it's currently going to allow 8K time-lapse, but apparently it's going to allow up to 8K video in the future. That's just something that they hinted at. So let's think, what do we all think about that? Okay, now they're also launching an adapter, which takes your regular F-mount into this one, and that's going to support up to 360-ish of their old lenses, and that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's jump on and see what else they have in here. The new lens mount will allow for higher frame rates. It will allow for better movie recording. In fact, what they've just launched is Nikon N-Log. Now, if you don't know what log format is, if you're getting into video, you need to shoot in log. Sony log, S-Log is amazing. Canon log, C-Log is amazing, changes everything. Now, Nikon is gonna have N-Log. Now this could change everything, and I mean everything, and I hope that we can install N-Log onto our DSLR cameras, because that would be amazing. Who knows if we can. I need to calm down. I'm just so excited about this. Okay, apparently what it's also going to allow is less focus breathing. So that's when you focus, the image should move less, like the frame should breathe a lot less, which is a big deal if you're doing video. Also, smoother and quieter focusing, which is kind of cool. Now, this is something that they launched and they talked about, but they didn't go into it. They just dropped it in there. And this is, I think, a big deal. They say they've got this thing called a lens control ring. Now, currently we all have those because you do your zoom and you can do your focusing. But they say that you're going to be able to get smoother focus capture ISO changes and zoom changes. But the photos that they showed, there was just one big one. So I don't know how that's gonna happen, but they dropped that as something as well. Okay, and before we get into the actual, what the cameras are, they compared this new range of cameras and lenses to the current D850, which is basically the pinnacle of DSLRs. So I think they're trying to enter the market not as kind of a beginning starter thing, but instead right at the top at the forefront. So what do we think? Okay, remember guys, I am going to be giving away one of these Nikon mirrorless cameras. Definitely at this point in the video, give me a thumbs up, watch it to the end, and I will tell you how you can win one of these cameras. How cool is that? I'm so excited. Okay, so what are the new cameras? Two cameras. There is a Z6 and a Z7. Okay, now some of these have some shared things. The first thing that they share is the X-Speed 6. Okay, so that's the processor inside. Apparently it's going to be amazing. What does the processor do? It takes whatever the sensor captures and actually processes it for storage, and that's a big deal. So apparently now what they're able to do is middle range sharpening or something, which is going to make the images sharper but keep smoothness in the gradients. That would be cool. Okay, mirrorless, that means EVF. Now they've developed their own brand new EVF. They're saying they're using the Nikon optics inside it. I'm sure they are, and it's awesome. But it is a 3690 dot EVF. I'm excited to look through that and see it. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. This is a biggie. Here we go. Nikon has developed their own version of 5-axis stabilization on the sensor. So that means no longer in the lenses, it's going to be able to stabilize it. Now that's something that Sony has basically nailed. They've been doing so well, and they have managed to do that. Now that is something incredible that Nikon, if they have nailed it, they believe is going to be, which is going to allow your lens to be capable of 5 stops of vibration. Now that is incredible if that's possible. So it's going to be able to do that for both video and photo, so it's going to be able to use that stabilization. And this is the other thing. Any of the old F-mount lenses that don't have image stabilization, with the adapter, this 5-axis stabilization is going to work. Awesome. Okay, what else are they doing? Okay, let's talk about some other shared specs. Video. Okay, so we know it's got N-Log. We know it's 10-bit. It can take 10-bit footage from, that's 422 10-bit footage, I believe, from the sensor to an external recorder. Like, that's ridiculous. That's like a Canon C300. That's like a cinema quality. Awesome. So I'm happy that they're doing that. The other thing that it's going to do, it's going to do 4K, 30 frames a second. Brilliant. It's going to do HD at 120. So they're pretty standard. That's pretty standard across the range right now. So they've just kind of hit that on the mark, which is good. But it is going to be able to do 8K time lapse inside the camera, which is the same thing as what the D850 can do. Yeah. Okay, now, what's the differences? Z6, Z7. Here we go. Z7 is a 45.7 megapixel sensor. That is a lot of megapixels. That's a lot of information. It has a brand new autofocus. Now, I don't know if this is going to work across them both, but it has 493 focus points that cover basically the entire sensor. That's awesome. And apparently the focusing, it's a hybrid system between phase detection and contrast detection autofocus. So basically, hopefully, that's going to be basically mirrorless focusing, which is going to allow us to do video and eye detection and all of that stuff that Sony can do. I just hope that Nikon able to nail this, because that is what's going to change this. In fact, what do you think? Is this new focus system going to be as good as Sony's? Because Sony's is out of this world. Okay, and the Z7 is going to be able to do 9 frames a second, and its ISO range, it's lower than the other one, is ISO 100 to 25,600. Prices. Prices, we're going to do that next. We're going to do the Z6 first. This apparently is called the Z6, the all-rounder. And this is 24.5 megapixels. Its ISO range is greater, 100 to 51,200. It can do up to 12 frames a second. And are you ready for the prices? Z7, about $4,000. Z6 is about $2,500. Those are the prices. Guys, what do we think? Good prices? Bad prices? Right where we thought it was going to be? I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's see. The adapter is going to be $350. So that's how you can convert your current lenses to work with that system. That's pretty cheap. And I'm really happy that that adapter comes in at that price, because I think basically you've got all your Sony users right there. Okay, a few other things that I want to point out, other little snippets that I managed to pick up. They are dust, drip, and maybe even like water resistant, so they're weather sealed. So it looks to me, they showed an image that it's probably made from like some kind of a metal, a zinc or something, so a full metal body, which is great. Maybe zinc or something like that. Apparently they've spent a lot of time on the ergonomics. Now they showed it in a hand and also people shooting with it. Now it looks like it's going to be really nice to hold, and apparently they worked really hard on the grip, which we all know has been a huge issue for Sony. People just don't like holding the cameras. Oh, I shouldn't say people. Some people don't. So hopefully they've sorted that out. Also, they're building a battery pack that you can screw on the bottom, so it's going to be able to shoot for longer. There you go, that's that. And apparently it's gonna have a hot shoe, and that technology is gonna work the same with all of the current accessories that are attached to that. So that's really great. Now they didn't talk about if there was gonna be an audio in or anything like that. They also didn't talk about if it's going to be an SD, if it's going to be an XQD, a CFast, what cards are in there. What cards do you want in this? 2 SD, 1 CFast, 1 SD, 1 XQD, 1 SD? Can't be a CFast, it's too big. Tell me what you think in the description below. Okay, so that is a lot. Now let's get talking about the lenses. Oh, we're gonna get through all of this today. The new lens line is called the S line, and apparently it is a high standard of lenses. It just goes through more testing than any other lenses, I guess, I don't know. And they all include nanocrystal coatings, which make them better, sharper, and help with chromatic aberration and stuff like that. Okay, so what are the lenses? They are launching it with 3 lenses. The first one, 24-70 f4. Apparently it's gonna be amazing for movies. It's not gonna have reduced focus breathing, all of that stuff, sharp end to end. It's gonna come out the end of September, about $1,250. The next one, 35mm f1.8s, gonna come out the end of October. That's going to be around $1,000. And the 50mm f1.8 is going to be out in the end of October, estimated, I think, around $700 to $750 US. Now, these are not guaranteed prices. This is kind of what they hinted at, and that's what I think it's going to be. Okay, what are these lenses so good at? They have super low chromatic aberration. So that's all of that little fringing there. Edge to edge sharpness. They have quiet, smooth aperture and focus. So that means that all the mechanics inside made for video. Nikon is attacking the video world. And it includes the stepping motor for autofocus, which basically means it can move it can actually move slower and smoother. There you go. And I think that, you know, because of all of these different advancements with lenses and the way that this mount is, I hope that these lenses are going to come in a little cheaper than all of the Sony G Masters that are mega expensive. Okay, they have future lenses in 2019. This is what they're going to do. They are jumping in and making sure they have a massive line of lenses within kind of 12 months. They're going to bring out a 20mm 1.8, a 85mm 1.8, a 24-70 f2.8. They're all going to be S line. They're also going to bring out a 70-200 2.8, but I got 1.8 here. If that's true, that's going to be insane. I'm guessing it's a 2.8. And then a 14-30 super wide f4. They have got everything covered. And then in 2020, they're going to move into their 1.2s, more 2.8s. They got a 50mm 1.2, 24mm 1.8, and the 24mm 2.8. What? I've got one extra thought at the end of this, because I just gave you a lot of information. Now, remember how Sony's mount, they managed to take an APS-C mount and they managed to get a full frame sensor in there. Well, what if in the future, Nikon were able to put in a medium format sensor? What do you think? Is it going to happen? Okay, guys, Competition time. How are you going to win one of the Nikon Z6s? It can happen. All you need to do is like this video, that's a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Then if you look at the description, you will see how you can enter. You can enter multiple ways. You can go like me on Instagram, all of those things. And when this video hits 50,000 likes, that's when I'm gonna draw. It's got to the end of the year to hit 50,000 likes. So give me a thumbs up and somebody's going to win. Guys, thank you so much for watching this long but detailed video all about the awesome Nikon mount. What do you think? Do you think Nikon has what it takes to actually make a difference and deliver to the mirrorless market? Thank you so much for watching. This was Ed Gregory from photosincolor.com.